Dear Rachel, I can hardly contain my excitement as I write you this letter. You haven't heard from me in a while because I've been away. I unexpectedly traveled to Bethlehem, and the most amazing thing happened. Remember how we would talk about how God saved our people? How he brought them out of slavery in Egypt? How he took care of them in the desert, anointed kings like David and Solomon to lead our ancestors? How God brought our people out of exile. Remember all those wonderful stories of God's love and faithfulness to us, his chosen people? We have been wondering now where God is in these days as we long for the promised Messiah to come and save us from the dreadful and cruel Roman Empire. We have been wondering when and how this Messiah will come. Well, Rachel, I have some good news. He has come. Not as we were expecting, yet a miraculous coming just the same. Let me begin from the beginning. About a month ago, we got word here in Nazareth that Caesar Augustus was taking a census, another attempt to squeeze more money out of us. Everyone had to go to their town of birth to be counted. My family was lucky because we were all born here in Nazareth. Anyway, one day I was doing my chores, minding my own business, when I saw my mom talking with our neighbor, Ann. They talked for a while, then Ann left. Mom called me to her and said she wanted to talk to me. She then told me that Ann was concerned about her daughter Mary. Mary was pregnant and needed to go with her husband Joseph to Bethlehem because that was his hometown. She asked Mom if I would go with them to sort of attend to Mary and help her out. Well, I like Mary, and I've known her for many years, and she's always been really kind to me. Though I've noticed that lately she's become very quiet and keeps to herself more. Ever since we found out that Mary was pregnant, people have been whispering when she's around, and they give her funny looks. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I can tell you that I did not want to take a trip to Bethlehem, and certainly I did not want to have to care for a woman with child. This is not a pleasant trip traveling on those rough roads, and I knew with Mary pregnant, it probably would take much longer than the normal 4 days. Well, I had nothing to say in the matter. Mom said that I would go. I have to admit I was mad at her for that, but I knew my anger wouldn't help my cause. Anyway, before I knew it, Mom was preparing supplies for the trip, which would probably take more than a week, and she packed up what she thought I might need. 2 days after the announcement of this trip, we were on the road, making our way to Bethlehem. Poor Mary. I could tell it was hard riding on that donkey. She held her stomach so that it wouldn't be jostled so much by the rough ride. She smiled, managed not to complain, but it was hard watching her. It was good we weren't alone on our journey. Many people seemed to be making their way through the countryside. We would meet up with different caravans from time to time. As you know, these roads can be very dangerous. I was thankful that we never encountered thieves. As I look back now, I remember feeling some kind of presence with us. I couldn't explain it then, but it seemed like we were being protected. Now I know it was an angel of the Lord accompanying us. The trip felt long, tiring, and dirty. The nights were cold and could have been scary, yet strangely were not. Mary had a very hard time sleeping. She was always uncomfortable, and Joseph worried about her. I could see it on his face. After 6 days of traveling, we finally arrived in the little town of Bethlehem, and it was crazy. People all over the place pushing and shoving, all trying to find somewhere to stay after a long journey on the road. Joseph found several inns, yet every one of them was full. When he got to the last one, it was obvious that something was happening with Mary. All day she seemed to be more in pain and discomforting, though she did not say a word. She had not eaten all day, and I took one look at her and knew that baby was coming. Joseph had a look of panic on his face as he knocked at the door of the inn. Again, he was told, There were no rooms available. Joseph pleaded with the innkeeper. In desperation, he told him that he'd take anything. Mary was about to give birth to their child. The innkeeper told Joseph to go in the back of the inn. Several meters to the east, he would find a stable. There were animals there, but the hay would make a warm bed. So Joseph led the donkey with Mary and me holding her hand as we rushed to the stable. It was worse than I imagined. As we approached the stable, the smell was overpowering. It made me want to throw up. Hay was all over the place, and that smelled too. The stable was dark and cold, though we were sheltered from the wind. The cows were pretty unaware of our presence at first, but believe me, I was aware of theirs. Joseph and I put some hay together to make a bed using some blankets that we had packed. We hoped that Mary could take a little rest, but that wasn't the case. As soon as we got the hay ready, Mary was giving birth in this smelly, dark, and dingy place. I held her hand on one side, Joseph held her hand on the other, and after some time, I do not know how long, because all of a sudden, it felt like time stood still. Suddenly, this beautiful child entered the world, and the most amazing thing happened. The dark, dingy stable was transformed before my very eyes. Gone was the smell, and suddenly there was this brilliant, shining light that shone down from heaven onto this tiny, helpless baby. Joseph placed the baby gently in a feeding trough. It laid there as this light penetrated the darkness and cold of the night and made a most spectacular sight. Even the animals fixed their gaze upon this child as if they knew something miraculous was happening. I remember feeling a joy enter my whole body, a joy that filled me from my head to toe. I knew something very special was happening. And then the strangest thing happened. People started coming to the stable to see the baby. Shepherds came from way out in the fields saying that an angel had appeared to them, telling them that this baby was born, a Savior, Christ the Lord. They said they followed a star that brought them right there. The star was that brilliant light from heaven. We stayed at the stable for a few days, and even more people came. Wise men from foreign lands in the east followed the star all the way to Bethlehem. They brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to honor the birth of a Messiah, the one foretold by the ancient prophets. And everyone who came had stories that were amazing, and they talked about the Messiah being born in the city of David. This child, the Savior of our people. When all the visitors had left, Mary and Joseph decided not to return to Nazareth. I do not know why, but they went to Egypt instead. Joseph was nice enough to arrange for me to return home with a caravan that included some of his cousins. So I left Joseph, Mary, and this very special baby Jesus. Though I left them, the joy of that night remains in my heart. And for the first time in my life, I face each day with a renewed hope, knowing that God has not forgotten us, his people, and he has sent us a special gift, his Son, the Messiah, who will free us from our oppression. I do not know how this will be, yet I wait with hope, confident that God is with us.